WMNH 95.3.
The commander to the supreme leader, Matzo coming down.
Good morning, everybody. We are live. Truly, yes, we are live. Wow, this does sound different. Welcome. It is that time. Matt Connarton Unleashed. We are back live from the studios, the brand new studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious Manchester, New Hampshire. And we will talk about that in a moment. But I am not alone this morning. Jenny is here, of course.
Of course. Good morning, darling.
Good morning.
This is gorgeous.
What's that?
I love it.
Yeah. So we are in the brand new studio here of WMNH at our new location in Canal Street, and everything is new and clean and really nice. So we've been gone for a little while. This show's been gone for a bit. You know, we had the holidays and then of course we had the big move to the new location, and somewhere in there I had COVID. I dodged it for nearly 3 years that I know of. I mean, I'm vaccinated, so I probably did have it along the way and didn't know it, but it finally got me. It put me down for a few days. But so you know, I'm fine now. Obviously, that was during the holidays. That's how I spent my New Year's, unconscious. But
True story.
But it is true. It is true. But yeah, so we are in the new location on Canal Street, and really nice. But if the show seems a little, if I seem uncertain at any point, I'll just throw that disclaimer out there. It's because we're in new environs, but really happy to be back, of course. Well, I was here last night for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. We were broadcasting, and that went really well. And if you didn't hear the show, of course, you can get it in the archive at WMNHradio.org. You can go back and listen to it. But so this is great. Everything sounds a little bit different, of course, in the new studio, and we have some new equipment, and sounds really good in the headphones, though.
It definitely does. Now, did you request the sound panels to be red? I can't help but notice they're your favorite.
Yeah, we have the panels in the studio. Some of them are red, some of them are gray. Red is my favorite color, so I do like it.
These are my high school colors.
I do like the red. Yeah.
Cranberry.
No, it looks really good in here. Everything's really nice. So we are, of course, broadcasting from WMNH 95.3 on your FM dial. If you are local in Manchester, we changed physical locations. But the frequency is the same, 95.3. And, of course, you can stream it. You can go to WMNHradio.org and click Listen Live. And, of course, you can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all your live streaming options. That's another way to get there. We are not on Facebook this morning. I thought we were going to be. So, damnedest thing. So, last night for Retro Spectrum Radio, we weren't able to be on Facebook. We tried, but Facebook was being glitchy. I don't think it has anything to do with any of the technology here in the studio. I think it's just Facebook being Facebook. So then Peter White was here this morning to let us in and help us get set up for our first show in the new place. And he was able to get on. He had no problem logging into Facebook to broadcast. But then when I went to do it, it won't let me do it. I'm having the same issue that Paul was last night. So Facebook being Facebook. But you can, of course, stream the show online at WMNHradio.org. Or, of course, like I said, you can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, and get to it that way, too. That will take you to the link so you can stream it. You can stream it on your computer, on your mobile device, wherever your heart desires. And, of course, like I said, if you're local here in Manchester, you can You can get us at 95.3 FM. A little bit of just another thing, too, about today's show. Since we moved to Saturday mornings, we've been doing very busy, very stacked shows. We're here for 3 hours on Saturday. And, a lot of guests, we try to have like a lot of musical guests. We try to have a different musical guest each hour and so forth. Today's show is a little more laid back, actually a lot more laid back. Again, just because we're in the new studio, I wanted to keep it kind of light this morning. So as we get used to our new environment here. So we do have guests coming in the second hour. Looking forward to that. But first hour, it's just Jenny and I. And we're going to be having my old friend Derek Smith, who we'll talk about how Derek and I know each other when he gets here, and I think he's gonna have one or two other people with him, because tonight at the Mosaic Art Collective, it's collective, right?
Correct.
I always want to say studio, but no, it's
Mosaic Art Collective.
the Mosaic Art Collective.
My
There's
new
a
favorite
show.
fascination.
Yeah, there's a show there tonight. Abner II and
Which is awesome.
a band, who has been on the show, who played live in studio.
He uses a viola and does looping.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, what he does is quite unique. And also a band called Regals is going to be there. And we're going to play, over the course of the show today, we're going to play a little bit of music from both of those artists. But they're going to be playing tonight at the Mosaic Art Collective, and Jenny and I are going to that. That'll be the second time that we've been there for a show. Plus, we went to that event about AI.
They do a lot of things there, which we'll get into later. But that was really interesting. We went there to talk about AI in art, which is creeping into every aspect of art, actually.
Yes.
And Melanie has decided that you must be in Facebook jail, and it's all your fault. Yes.
By the way, so we'll be talking to some people from there today on the show. And we'll get into some other stuff too. But the phone line is open. The studio line is open if you are listening live. So give us a call. 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007 is the studio line. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can hit me that way. And if I see it during the show, I will read your comment or inquiry. Of course, you can email me anytime, matt@mattconnerton.com. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is give us a call. 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention now that we're back.
Actually, yes. I am now officially taking bookings.
Yes.
We are actually, yes. So time slots are actually filling up fairly quickly. So if you are wanting to guest on the show and share your creations, just get me in touch with me.
And how can they do that?
Telepathy won't work, right?
Nope. Not a thing.
What about I want smoke signal?
Nope.
All right. Well, then I guess they'll have to email me at JennCoffey16@gmail.com. JENNCOFFEY16@gmail.com.
When William from Sepsis was here the last time, he mentioned something about New England telepathy, but I don't think that's really a thing.
Now, wait a minute. How dare you disparage New Englanders? You are one.
No, I'm saying New England telepathy. I don't think that's real.
Now, of course it is.
Telekinesis, perhaps.
Yeah, no. What do you think it is that makes everybody's memories go away when they right before the first snow, and then when the first snow hits, they've all forgotten how to drive?
What does that have to do with telepathy?
It's connection.
No.
It's yes. It's all over New England. It's yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
By the way,
we are all connected in New England.
We did play a Sepsis song to open the show today too. I played Romance and Reality, their newest single, and we played Unicycle, the radio edit from Jerry and the Scumbags, a band that is particularly near and dear to my heart. Let me give the studio line one more time, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Sorry, what?
Oh, lots of love from Sepsis, of course.
Yes.
I've spoke to them yesterday.
Yes.
They were very excited that we were bringing in the peeps again.
Yes, the Peeps.
Peeps. The peoples.
Some interesting music news.
Oh?
Yes.
Dare say.
Are you familiar with this older lady? She goes by the name Madonna.
Who?
Madonna. She's named
Who?
She's named after the mother of our Lord, you know. But but she also. Okay, the reason I make that reference is because whenever I think of Madonna, of course I'm talking about Madonna, the musical artist. Whenever I think of Madonna, I immediately think back to when we were kids, and Church Chat was a recurring sketch on Saturday Night Live. The church lady played by Dana Carvey, and the guest one week was Sean Penn. And Sean Penn at that time was married to Madonna. So the church lady says something about, you're married to a woman who is named after our Lord or something like that. So that's what I think of whenever I think of Madonna. Madonna, of course, the musician who was popular in the 1980s and has had a lot of plastic surgery.
When I think of her, I think of pointy breasts.
Oh, the cones.
Yes, the cones with a crown.
Yes. Well, apparently she is being sued. This is from, I like the BBC because I don't know. I feel like they do a better job than a lot of American media, just in general. But you can find this anywhere, of course, if you just Google Madonna. But the BBC reporting Madonna sued by fans in New York over late concert start time. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
I have not.
These Madonna fans revolting. They're very upset that she started late.
Well. There's late, and then there's holy crap. There's no more public transport late.
I mean, well, that's true, and that is a problem in New York City. Now, I have to assume that none of these people have ever been to a Guns N' Roses concert because you don't know when Axl Rose is going to finally emerge. Although I think he's gotten better in his old. He's actually gotten better about that.
Has he really
in his old
gone
age.
2 hours though? Like, has he gone 2 hours?
Axl Rose? Oh, there are stories.
Really?
Yeah, but from back in the day, as I think the young people say. No, I think he's gotten a lot better about that now. I don't think he does that now. But when he was younger, yeah, he'd make them wait. But so this is what now. By the way, this is not a large scale sort of class action lawsuit. It says here 2 Madonna fans are suing the singer for being late by more than 2 hours for a show last month in New York, according to court documents. They state the show was meant to start at 2:30 Eastern, which would be, I'm sorry, well, that threw me off. It's written as 20:30 Eastern, which would actually be, of course, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's the BBC. They do things all British. On all 3 nights. But in each case, it did not begin until after 22:30, which would be 10:30, ending around 1 a.m. The case says they, quote, would not have paid for tickets, unquote, had they known it would finish so late. The BBC has asked Madonna, Live Nation, and the Barclays Center for comment. The case, brought by Michael Fellows and Jonathan Haddon, states that, quote, many ticket holders who attended concerts on a weeknight had to get up early to go to work and or take care of their family responsibilities the next day, unquote. They are suing promoter Live Nation and venue the Barclays Center for, quote, false advertising, negligent misrepresentation, and unfair and deceptive trade practices, unquote. Fellows and Haddon attended the show on Wednesday, again, it's the BBC. Everything's written weird. December 13th. I'll just give you the date. Well, the way this is written, it literally says Wednesday.
It's not English.
Right. Yeah. It may be the Queen's English, but, listen.
English now.
Can I just say this?
No.
Here in America, we speak American. And that's it.
Stop it.
We speak American. So this is difficult for me to read this way. This is what, let me also just add this, okay? This is a perfect example of why we fought the Revolutionary War.
Really?
We don't get political on this show anymore, but I just want to throw that in. This is why, because of the way this is written.
I'm going to go throw tea.
Because this is written, they attended the show on Wednesday, 13 December 2023. That's how it's written.
Well,
That's how
you're supposed to write the date.
apparently in the BBC. By the way, isn't Wednesday 13 a band?
They do drive on the wrong side of the road.
So that's confusing to me.
So
yes,
that's why
they do.
They have the wrong date.
Yes.
Yes, backwards.
The legal documents note that other nights at the same venue on 14 and 16 December, that's how it's written, also reportedly started more than 2 hours late. The document says, quote, defendants failed to provide any notice to the ticket holders that the concerts would start much later than the start time printed on that ticket and as advertised, which resulted in the ticket holders waiting for hours, unquote. The court papers also say Madonna, quote, has a long history of arriving and starting her concerts late, sometimes several hours late, unquote. I didn't know that. So she's just like Axl Rose. Citing examples including, quote, her 2016 Rebel Heart Tour, her 2019-2020 Madam X Tour, and prior tours, where Madonna continuously started her concerts over 2 hours late, unquote. No. This is a problem. This is she's a habitual offender.
Looking to our British brothers and sisters, they're reporting in the
I have no
Guardian.
I disown them. I'm very upset about this whole thing with the dates.
Oh, God, stop. The Guardian is reporting that this is not the first time she's actually been sued over being late to her concert. In 2009 and 2020, she was sued by concertgoers who felt scorned by her lack of punctuality.
Well,
score.
Yeah.
You gotta love the British writing.
Well, I mean, it is rude. It's rude.
Well, and in all fairness, it is. I mean, if you're expecting to get out of a concert at like 10, 11 o'clock at night when the trains are still running and the buses are still running or whatever, and you're going to get home, whatever, but if you're getting out at 1 o'clock in the morning and these same services are no longer available in the overnight hours, which is what some of these people are talking about. Mm-hmm. There are people who got like kind of trapped to figure out on how the heck to get home. Mm-hmm. So,
oh yeah. No, in a city like New York, yeah, that's obviously
you got a really good reason.
That's a huge issue.
I mean, it's not like there's something bad. Like if she got in an accident or plane got late, something that's beyond our control, understandable.
Yeah.
But if it's just because you feel like it, or you're that diva, no.
Not just
New
York.
I'm on their side.
Yeah. Any metropolitan area where you're dependent on public transportation, yeah, that's going to cause a real problem for you. If it hasn't happened to me, but I've known people, who go to shows in Boston that for some reason run ridiculously late, and then they have trouble getting on the subway.
But then also if you're a parent, this is your night key. Out. You've got a babysitter at home who's got school the next day, expecting to be home at 11 o'clock at night.
And
they're not getting out of the venue until 1 a.m.
Yeah, I'm a little less sympathetic to that argument, only because the transportation issue is one thing, but you kind of. I mean, it is kind of baked into the cake that if you're going to a concert, you're gonna be late. You just don't expect to be, but you don't want to be so late that you can't get home.
No, I don't know. I don't. Why are you against the parents here?
I'm not against it. I just said I'm less sympathetic to that argument.
You don't have any idea how hard it is as a parent.
I don't.
To get time off, to get tickets, to get a babysitter, if you got pets, whatever it is. Get all of these things lined up so you can have those couple of hours out. Well, most people, when they hire babysitters, there are other kiddos who got to go to school the next day. And you can't be sending them home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, this is the reason.
You got to give them time to get home.
This is the entire reason why I never wanted to start a family, why I have no children of my own. And I decided at a young age, I have no interest in being a father, specifically because if I knew this is something I understood about myself from a young age. If I ever wanted to attend a Madonna or a Guns N' Roses concert, the children were just going to drag me down because then I'd have to be worried about, the babysitter getting home for them. So I said, you know what? I just can't have kids. What was that?
Oh my.
Did you, what was that sound? Did you hear that?
It sounded like a train horn. We are near a track.
It actually did. Yeah, maybe it was.
We are on street level now.
That's true. Well, that's exciting.
We have a crazy cool new building.
Yes.
We can see stuff. And you know what? We can see stuff, but the people outside can't see it. So you can make like silly faces and they won't see you.
It says here the plaintiffs are suing for unspecified damages. This is not the first time fans have objected to the singer being late for her shows. And in 2019, a fan sued over a delay for a U.S. show, but he voluntarily dismissed the case a month later, according to ABC News. In the same year, Madonna had shared a post of her live on stage in which she told fans, quote, "There's something you all need to understand, and that is that a queen is never late," unquote.
Oh, come on.
Oh, my. So
That's such a
So when she graces
crappy
us with her
excuse.
presence
That's such an
on her own time, because she's the queen.
Stinks. That's not a
Yes.
good excuse.
Madonna's sold
I'm
out.
going to night myself. I can be late everywhere now.
Her sold out celebration tour was a greatest hits show, including more than 40 songs from her career to celebrate the 40th anniversary of her breakout single Holiday, playing venues including the US, Canada, and Europe. The singer had a health scare. Oh, I'd forgotten about this. She had a health scare last summer after she was found unconscious in her New York apartment in June and rushed to the hospital, where she received treatment for a serious bacterial infection. She later said she was lucky to be alive and postponed the start of the tour from July to October last year.
See, now that's different. That's way beyond her control.
Sure.
You know, don't die. We want you to play, not die. That is beyond her control. But to simply be late, offer no explanation, anything like that. Yeah, you just screwed up a whole bunch of people. I mean, how many thousands of people were there?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's a weeknight. See, it's a weeknight really kicks me because it really messes up everybody.
Uh-huh. But this is a good example, too, of why, and this is advice that no one will probably take, but you should, if you're going to buy tickets to a show, and there's another reason why I say this, you should always, before you buy those tickets, no matter how excited you are, just do some quick, light research so you know exactly what you're getting into. There's an element of buyer beware to this, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So somebody like, see, I didn't know this about Madonna. I just knew it about Guns N' Roses because of Axl Rose. But, but I've also never bbeen interested in seeing Madonna live. So, but, you want to know.
They'll poke your eye out.
You kind of want to know what you're getting into because if it's an artist who is notorious for being late, if it's going to be a problem for you, potentially, like if you have kids and, you've got a babysitter and you've got to be home at a certain time, you're going to want to know that before you buy those tickets, especially I assume she's charging outrageous sums of money because all major artists do. But the other reason I there's an unrelated reason that I always say this to people too, that has nothing to do with punctuality. There are a lot of, if you're seeing, you especially see this with classic rock bands, 70s, rock bands, 80s rock bands, and I suppose at this point, some 90s bands as well. If you're going to see a band and you're someone who is concerned about knowing who's actually in the band, for example, or, are they, how are they doing on stage? Are the shows good? Or are they stumbling out there addled with drugs and alcohol or whatever?
Guns N' Roses.
It's worth, but it's
that was their issue back then. If you go to their
back then,
concert,
sure, yeah.
So if you were going to that concert, you knew what to expect.
Back then, yeah. Now they're all pretty clean, I think, but
I think they fried their livers too much to not be.
Yeah, you get to a point where you can't
My liver.
do that anymore or you'll die. But the reason I say this is there's a lot of bands now, and some people get upset and they don't realize what they're getting into. So I'll just give you an example. If you say Foreigner, this is a perfect example. Say Foreigner is touring. If you're someone who's particularly concerned about who's actually going to be on stage, there's so many examples of this, but Foreigner is a great example. If you're someone who's concerned about who's actually going to be on stage when you go to see them, is it going to be any semblance of the original lineup, the one you grew up with, the one that you love? Is Lou Gramm going to be singing? Spoiler alert, he is not. Kelly Hansen, I think, has been singing for Foreigner probably for at least 2 decades now, longer than Lou Gramm was ever even in the band. You know, you're going to want to do some, it'll take you 2 minutes. Just do some quick, light research before you buy those tickets. If you're someone who is concerned about that. Now, the average consumer, I don't think cares, but let me just tell you, if you go to see Foreigner, there's nobody in that band on that stage who is an original member at this point. Even what's his name? Is it Mick Jones? I always get the name wrong.
I did not know this.
The guitar player. What's the guitar player's name?
Oh,
something Jones.
Is it? I stink with this.
I feel like it's Mick Jones, but I'm not sure. Anyway,
I could never play 9 at 9.
The guitar player in Foreigner actually now manages the band, and he doesn't even want to be on stage.
The original guitar player.
Yeah. So he's
kidding.
still part of the band, but not on stage. He runs the band. He acts as tour manager, but he lets them go out on stage and perform. He doesn't want to perform anymore.
His body up enough.
But he's still, so he's still making that money. Interesting thing, a number of years ago, Foreigner went on a tour with Cheap Trick, but Cheap Trick's management insisted that the guitar player had to actually participate in a certain percentage of the shows.
Oh, they wanted at least one original
guy. Yeah.
Smart move on their part.
Things like that happen when in, what was it, 2004 or 2005, when Kiss and Aerosmith did their co-headlining tour. Aerosmith actually closed out every show. Kiss was on first and then Aerosmith. So they weren't really co-headlining because, whoever goes on last is truly the headliner. So really Aerosmith was the headliner and Kiss was the opener. They called it a co-headlining tour because they're both.
Gene wouldn't like that.
But the thing is, how
dare you say such thing?
Well, the thing is though, Aerosmith management, when they put that deal together, they had leverage because Aerosmith had all 5 original members, whereas Kiss had a different guitar player because Ace Frehley had left the band again. So they had Tommy Thayer on guitar. So when they were putting the deal for the tour together, which Doc McGee, the manager of Kiss, who's still the manager of Kiss today, he really wanted that tour. So he agreed, okay, so Kiss will open all the shows. We're going to call it co-headliner. They're going to play the same amount of time, but Kiss is going to open every night because Aerosmith had all 5 original members and Kiss only had 3 of the 4 original members. So Aerosmith had that leverage. But I'm just saying, if you're someone who, because, every once in a while I'll see people online, I went to see such and such band and I didn't even recognize anybody on the stage. Check it out first. Do some light research.
No
there have been instances where this is something I'd have to do a little deeper research to really get into the subject in depth, but we'll do it on a future show because it is a fascinating subject, I think. There was a point where, remember the band LA Guns?
Yes.
The Ballad of Jane was like their big, massive hit, but they had a few other hits. Oh, that's right. Edgewise opened for LA Guns. Right here, right over there. right. Because we're on Canal Street now. So right across the street at Jewel. That's right. I forgot about that. There was a point where there were 2 versions of LA Guns touring at the same time. One with Tracy Guns and one other version with, I think, the singer. And it was, and of course.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you know now? You have to be a deep fan to know which concert to go to, or whose side are you on? I'm going to this guy's or that guy's.
That's why I tell everybody, if it matters to you, and like I said too, to the average,
I have no clue.
To the average concert goer who just likes going to a concert, they probably don't even care, and that's what the industry depends on. That's what these bands who do this, that's what they depend on. You don't care who's in the band, so it doesn't matter, and everybody's replaceable. But if you do care, do the research. And to kind of circle back to the Madonna thing, again, it's going to be the real Madonna, unless it's an AI version of Madonna or something. But do the research. If you're concerned about what time you're going to be getting out of that venue, do the research.
I don't think it's going to be too far that we're not looking at it. Is that AI? Is that not AI? I mean, isn't Kiss supposed to be setting up something like that in Vegas?
The avatars, yeah.
And that's all. It's basically it's AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to the 22nd century.
21st.
No, not yet. Okay.
No.
I have to say though, I love living in my Jetsons world. I really do. Remember when you're a kid, you watch that stuff. Now we have it.
Well,
now we can,
sort of. We're not.
Come on, the
we're not
screen
flying
comes
around
up and we're chit chat. All right, I don't have my car in a suitcase yet. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But I do have the screen come up and somebody there, and we can. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know why. I mean, I don't know how this lawsuit's going to end up, but I assume, just refund their money, right?
Something.
You would think they would just do that.
Hopefully nothing really, really bad happened because of this. I mean, there's a huge difference between getting out of a venue around 11 o'clock and getting out at 1 a.m. There really is a big difference between that.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people for being upset. If there was no good reason given, it doesn't sound like they gave any reason.
Well,
if something happened.
In her defense, I mean, she had that post from a while ago when she said, she's the queen.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
She's never late.
Yeah, no, that's Queen Latifah shows up on time, and she is the queen.
Of course.
So, yeah,
of course.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's good enough. No, I think you owe your fans something when they're gonna come spend all that money to come see you and spend money on all your merch.
I wonder if she sings live.
Can you imagine standing? For me, it would never happen. I could have never, if you had seats that were ground level, everybody's standing. Or you're no seat. What if you're on the floor? There's no seat. You're just standing there. And you're spending over 2 hours on your feet before you even get to see a show.
Yeah, it better be a good show.
I couldn't do that. I would have to leave.
Do you think she sings live or does she lip sync?
Of course, I wouldn't
at her
sit
age.
in a non-seated area.
Because she probably still dances around, right? She probably can't sing live anymore. Does her face even move? Have you seen her? Have you seen her?
You're awful.
Have you seen how strange she looks?
What is with the shaming?
I'm just saying because she's had all that. I mean, she looks weird.
A lot of
she looks very strange.
A lot of people seem to enjoy plastic surgery in a way that
it's psychologically addictive.
Yeah, see, I believe that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it definitely is. Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you're staring at yourself, always looking for flaws.
Right.
I hate that. I hate that it makes people do that.
Why
hunt out flaws?
I suspect what happens
flaws
is
are beautiful.
People have they get the plastic surgery and then they're not happy with the result.
So
and they probably it becomes like if you're addicted to addicted to anything, if you're addicted to drugs and you get into that, okay, just one more fix, or if you're addicted to video games, just one more game, and then I'm going to put down this controller.
This level.
I think it's the same thing. It's probably the same thing with plastic surgery. You get plastic surgery and then you thought it was going to make you look so much younger and it doesn't. And then you go, all right, I'm just going to get one more surgery, just one more surgery.
Just adjust this and adjust that.
Yeah. And then you end up like Kenny Rogers, where remember in the last 10 years that he was still alive, he looked like a different person, like he had a different face because, he just kept getting plastic surgery. And it just
can be pretty addictive to people.
Yeah.
But I'll never shame somebody for doing it. But, me personally, I love imperfection. I think imperfection is the most beautiful thing in art. Everything I like when I make scarves and things, there's always something, maybe a stitch got dropped and I pulled it back up, or one's a little tighter than the other. That's part of what makes it special and unique, is that each one has its own. And that's what I like about art. I don't want it to, if I want something perfect, computerized, well, then I can go to a computer. But if I want something that's human, that has passion in it or emotion or feeling or whatever it is that I'm looking at, I want those imperfections. It's what makes them beautiful.
603-250-6007 is the studio line. 603-250-6007 if you'd like to chime in on anything. Hey, separate story, just briefly, but because we have guests coming in the second hour. But this is a story on TheVerge.com, which is a great site. TikTok can generate AI songs, but it probably shouldn't. It says here, TikTok has launched many songs that have gone viral over the years, but now it's testing a feature that lets more people exercise their songwriting skills with some help from AI. AI song generates songs from text prompts with the help of large language model Bloom. Users can write out lyrics on the text field when making a post. TikTok will then recommend AI song to add sounds to the post. Excuse me. And they can toggle the song's genre. Quote, "It's not technically an AI song generator. The name is likely to change and is currently in testing at the moment," unquote. Barney Hooper, spokesperson for TikTok, said in an email to The Verge, quote, "Any music used is from a pre-saved catalog created within the business. In essence, it pairs the lyrics with the pre-saved music based on 3 genres, pop, hip hop, and EDM," unquote. The feature was first spotted last week. AI song doesn't seem to be available to everyone yet, but some TikTok users have already begun experimenting with it. The results so far are not great. Many are out of time, despite the availability of auto-tuning vocals. There's an example here from user Jonah Manzano, who created a song that somehow tried to make the word comedy have more syllables than it needs. Another user, I would play these, but I don't know if there's any bad language in them. Another user, Christy Lalani, sort of recreated a Britney Spears song, but again, with severely out-of-time vocals. I'm curious to hear those. AI-generated songs, however, are not new to TikTok. The now infamous AI Drake and The Weeknd song Heart on My Sleeve gained virality on the platform. Bad Bunny also criticized people for listening to an AI sound-alike posted on TikTok. TikTok is not the only platform to lean into generative AI features for its users. YouTube began testing a music creation functionality that lets users make songs from either text prompts or a hummed tune. Dream Track allows for 30-second snippets in the style of other popular artists. To be more transparent, TikTok rolled out other features that help identify AI-created content on the app and updated its rules requiring users to be upfront about using AI in their content. So, hey, we should mention too, you've been posting videos on TikTok and doing quite, let me unmute your mic there, and doing quite well.
Yeah, that's not the weirdest thing. Like, I just really haven't put a lot up there, but yeah, I mean, shoot, one of my videos is over 3,300.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's quite a number of them that are well over 1,000. Actually, a lot more than I realize now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, I only just recently started playing with TikTok, and it seems like a fun space.
Yeah.
Rocky's on there.
Oh, our friend Rocky Huber.
He's got a TikTok channel on there.
He does very well.
Yeah, he does a lot. It's interesting that you just get these little small snippets of things, but it is addictive. When you talk about addiction, it is addictive because you can sit there and you just scroll in video. It's very easy to go down that rabbit hole and stay there, but it's also really cool to see snippets of other people's stuff. It's a rabbit hole that you can enjoy, but try not to disappear into.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the addictive nature of it, and again, as we were just talking about a few minutes ago, psychological addiction. It's kind of what they're counting on in a way, right?
Well,
That's part of the business model, is that you'll get hooked in, and and that's true of any platform, really. Not just there's a lot of talk these days about how social media, people become addicted to it, but really anything that you do online, any website, if it's a blog site, if it's anything,
well, it's perfect for us.
They want to keep you there as much as they can.
Well, and the fact that they're snippets actually helps that. It's a small moment of time, and then you're on to the next.
Right.
When you watch a video, you might get 2-3 minutes into it, and you're going, no, I'm getting kind of tired of this, and you move along to something else. When you're looking at something that's so short, it's easy to keep your attention because there's always something new rotating in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to get sucked into that. I mean, I'm on there now, so obviously I'm not against it. I think it's got its place. I think it's a fun way to share art.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At least,
Yeah, to be creative.
Yeah, it's a great creative space. I don't like this AI in songs, though. I mean, because they're 100%. The music that they're using is everybody else's.
Yeah.
It's not original music. Although, is there really any original music if you think of it?
I'm curious to try it and play around with it.
You want to play around?
The only thing I've done so far is just when I started using Chat GPT, which is fun, and of course I use it in my work somewhat. But I asked it to write a Kiss song, and it came up with these pretty silly
That's
lyrics.
But
fun.
I'm still on the fence. I have a book in progress, and I keep thinking about how I'm going to edit this book.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that says, geez, maybe I should use AI to edit. It would get a lot of that stuff, and it would give me the control of making sure that my voice doesn't get lost. But then do I want my written work on this thing? I'm really on the fence. I can't make up my mind just yet on should I use the AI to do the editing and try and just do it 100% on my own, or should I try and find somebody that can work with me and help string the story along together and edit with me?
I think using it for editing would be probably not great. I don't think it would be effective for that. Like, I use it for if I have something that's going on a website and I want to say, edit this, but maximize it for search engine optimization in terms of using keywords. But I think for writing, for editing your writing, I think it would be. I think you'd accidentally stumble into plagiarism, because it's going to start. I think it's going to start editing that based on what else is out there, and you're going to end up. I think you would end up accidentally plagiarizing something. Now
that would be horrible.
Now there's other tools you can use. I
never thought about that.
Right, but there's other tools you can then use to fix that.
And I wasn't even going there. I was thinking more about the fear of putting my writing on this thing.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's going to happen anyway once you publish it.
True that.
You're putting it out into the world. Now Grammarly has a plagiarism checker. And there's other tools you can use for that too, that will then take that content and unplagiarize it for you.
I actually have a weird thing about my writing, and that I am always assessed at using words that most people don't use. So I don't usually run into that. It's weird. All those games and things you do, I always end up in the weird zone. But I would hate to mix it, and then you're not sure what part is mine. What part did it use? Yeah, no, I think you just talked me out even considering it.
Yeah, I
never thought about it on that side.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I've been trying to learn all that I can because it's fascinating. It is fascinating, and you can do some really cool things with ChatGPT. Well, let's do this. We'll take a break. We're going to play a couple songs and then show some love to our amazing sponsors, and then we've got hour number 2 coming up. We've got guests who I'm really looking forward to talking to. But I think I'm going to play something from Abner II, a song called "The Audrey It Burns," which he played here.
Yeah.
Well, not here, but when we were in the old studio.
Yep. We'll have to have him back in the new studio.
Which he played live for us. And I'm also going to play a track for Regals, who are also playing tonight. They've got I assume it's the single because they have a video for it. Called "Orbit of Your Heart," although I had to make a radio edit of it because there's a bad word. But
I didn't even pick up on that.
There is a bad word, but I made
This is why I do not do these things.
but I made a radio edit because I really want to play it because it is a great song.
That's awesome.
So we'll play those. We're going to show some love to our amazing sponsors, and then we'll be back with hour number 2. We've got guests. Our first guests in the new studio here on Canal Street. So we are live. Matt Connarton Unleashed does continue live from WMNH 95.3. in glorious Manchester, New Hampshire. And here it is, "The Audrey It Burns" from Abner II, or Abner II.
You are listening to WMNH 95.3.
The commander to the supreme leader, Matzo coming down.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Matt Connarton Unleashed as we enter hour number 2, Numero Dos, live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious Manchester, New Hampshire. Our brand new studio on Canal Street. So, yes, we are actually live. It is January 20th, 2024. I hope I said, did I say 24 at the start of the show today? I'm worried I actually said 23.
I think you said 24.
You know how people get, they forget, like they write the wrong year on checks and whatnot for the first month of the
Most
new
people
year.
don't even write checks anymore.
That's true. I'm just worried that we'll have to.
Most people don't even write anymore.
We'll have to listen back to the podcast. I'm worried that I said 23 at the start of
I
today.
get to pick on you if you did.
Yes. Or I could just edit it and then no one will know.
Ha ha.
Mhm.
I will know.
You will know.
I will tell you.
So Jenny is here, of course, at the news desk.
I am present and accounted for.
And if you are just joining us, like I said, this is of course, the morning show's been here now. And last night I was here for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C.
Awesome show last night, by the way.
Thank you. But this is our first Matt Connarton Unleashed in the news studio.
Did I tell you inspired me to paint last night?
What do you mean? Oh, the show, Retro Spectrum Radio, inspired you? Oh.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, good.
I'll have to show you the canvas when we go home.
Yes.
We had a beautiful background started.
Excellent. So we also have our first guests on Matt Connarton Unleashed now that we are in the new studio. So we have my old friend Derek Smith is here. Hello, Derek.
Hi, Matt.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
And you brought Nick and Chloe are with you. Welcome.
Hey, nice to be here.
Thanks for having us.
And I gotta turn those mics. I'm getting used to the new mics here, the new setup. I'll turn you guys up a little bit there. So now obviously I've known Derek for like 20 years, but who are the two of you? Who are Nick and Chloe?
Well, my name is Chloe Schrottmeyer, and Nick and I are both representatives and board members of a really cool space that's kind of up and coming here in Manchester.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's called the Mosaic Arts Collective.
Mm-hmm.
Located at 66 Hanover Street, right next to the Palace Theater and a couple other really important Hanover Street entities. We are more than just a gallery. We do have gallery space where lots of local artists are exhibiting over the last year, and it's been really fulfilling to see these local artists come from all over New Hampshire and beyond New Hampshire to come show their work of all levels in the space. But one of the cool things about Mosaic is that it's not just a gallery. It is also a studio space and a workshop space and a classroom and a collective for all of the arts community of Manchester to kind of share and come together and
Yeah, and that's artists that are just starting out. That's established artists. We do art calls, so like anyone can enter and join a show and show what they have.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, I forgot I muted my mic for a second. Yeah, I'm still getting used to the new setup here. Jenny and I have been there. So we've been there twice now. We were there for the show.
We were there for a concert.
Yeah. Who was? I forget who was playing that night. Derek will remember.
That was back in December.
Yeah.
And that was the first one. Had Evan Benoit of Happy Just to See You.
Oh, yes.
And the DJ Bizza from Portland, Maine.
Yep. Yeah, he was great. Well, both of them were really good. And then we were there a number of weeks ago for during the daytime.
Yeah, there was a presentation, a talk on AI in art in many different forms, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
I really learned a lot about AI that I did not know before. So it was a great talk.
Yeah.
And I know they have more things like that coming up. And tonight we're going to go see Abner II. Yes. And Regal.
Yes. Regals. Yeah.
Forgive me, I forgot to put the S on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking them out last night. I was really enjoying their music. So I'm looking forward to seeing them live tonight. And the space is so uniquely cool in that the Mosaic Art Collective, when you walk in, it's art. You walk into this really amazing space that has different people's work, different types of talents, different types of textures and styles. And then you have this warm room in the middle where the music is and everybody can gather. And then There's a lot of artist spaces there. They're beautiful. It's just a really uniquely cool place. That little diamond in the rough of the city that you once you know it's there,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah. It is sort of set up. We are located on the second floor, so we are a little kind of set back and a little hidden there.
Yeah.
But it is a diamond when you first walk in, and the space has served a numerous amount of purposes for many artists and creative in Manchester over the last year plus some. I love that you guys have been into shows and seen some of our music that's happened so far. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we fell in love fairly quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. No, very cool place. Now, so the two of you, Nick and Chloe, so you're both on the board.
Correct.
That's correct.
Now, how did this get started? How did the art collective get started?
So it started back in August. They did a show called Full Circle. It was kind of like I said, an art call, so local artists could participate. My friend Cassia sent me a link, and I entered, and I met Liz when I dropped off, and it was just extremely warm and welcome. You just walk in, and you just kind of feel like comfortable.
Mhm.
And it's just kind of been like that all year, and it's snowballed, and now we're a nonprofit with a board,
Yep.
which we joined, and it's just a nice spot for people to show this art that are local. And right now, there's a show called This Is Us Plus Some, so the board members brought in a guest each to show some art that are like local leaders in the area.
Yeah.
Really all of New England, but mostly local to New Hampshire.
Okay. I assume, we always talk, Jenny and I talk about this on the show quite a bit, because we have a lot of musicians on, and we're always talking about how it's amazing how much local talent there is.
Yeah.
And you would, you almost, and I assume obviously it's not unique to this area, anywhere really, you're going to find a lot of music, local musicians in your area who are doing really great stuff. And I don't think people who aren't paying attention realize just how much talent there is going on around them, that they're not aware of unless they're actually taking the time to investigate and go out to see shows or go online and find what local musicians are doing. I assume it's the same with art, right? That there's just all this talent all around us that unless you're really kind of tuned in and paying attention, you don't even know that it's there unless you at least put in the effort to check out a place like Mosaic and explore.
Yeah, absolutely. Mosaic was the first place that I ever showed. I had no idea. I've lived in New Hampshire for 10 years now, so
Yeah.
it's like I had no idea that everyone was around here doing this much.
Yeah.
It's a community I just was oblivious to.
Yeah.
So it was really cool just to see and meet all these people over the year, and it felt like years. It's
Really?
only been 1 year, so it's like this place is just kind of blown up in Manchester.
Yeah.
That's really cool that was your first time. I talked to Liz, and at some point when I get daring enough, I will submit something. But I like hearing that you did it for the first time, and then here you are. So that's awesome.
Yeah, just a year
It's
and change
encouraging.
later.
It's encouraging.
What goes into that? Is showing? Is that the right term? Show?
Sure.
Exhibitioning, showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what goes into that?
So it is it's a team effort. So this current show that we have up was a little bit of a different structure. It was an invitation structure. So that was a little bit different. We reached out to artists and invited them to come into the space and show. Typically, we run a open call every month. And for an open call, anybody is welcome to enter. And we love that everybody does.
Yeah.
And
like when you say everybody, like how many people does it end up being?
oh, it depends. So some of the things that might dictate who enters the show are we try to assign a theme to each month
Oh, okay.
that might be relevant to something that's happening in the month or relevant to our own timeline as a gallery. So I think different themes attract different kinds of artists
Mhm.
and attract different kinds of work. So, for example, in October, this most recent October, we did the Nevermore show. And I think Halloween is a very popular thing
Oh,
for artists.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That
So
makes sense.
we had just an influx of just amazing work, all inspired by spooky October things.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was on the flip end. Then the board has to get together and review all these submissions and make selections. And once we have that list of work that's selected to make it into the show, then we have to hang it on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that has always been fun. And I think I can speak for more than just myself when I say the hanging parties that we do at Mosaic have been a really huge team building experience for the staff or those of us that are involved with that process. We have really had every month just this wonderful point to come together, touch base, kind of collaborate on this show that's gonna mean something to everyone, not just us. And it provides all of us such a great feeling of fulfillment and happiness. And we all walk away from those days, those evenings, feeling really uplifted and, I think recognizing what this was all about
Yeah.
in the first place.
Yeah.
Liz is the owner and founder of Mosaic, and she moved back into this area, to Hooksett area, after living in Vermont for quite a while. And I think her time in Vermont, she found that there was a really thriving, collaborative, local arts community. And when she moved back to this space, was sort of surprised to see a different environment in this space.
Yeah.
And I think she saw, identified, and then executed the need to produce a space where the local artists here in Manchester could come and really live up to what some of the other like small local art communities in the US are doing all around us. And it's sort of collected and organized that effort into one space. And seeing that come to fruition over the last year has been, I think, to Nick's point, it's felt like a decade, not just a year.
Really, yeah.
We've gained a decade's worth of friends and met a decade's worth of people all in the last year, and network and inspiration and collaboration, all of that in the last year. It's mind-blowing to think how much has happened.
No doubt.
It's interesting how people can interact with the artists more here too. Where it is a local collective of artists, you have the opportunity to speak to the artists or get closer to them than you would in a large gallery situation where you might see their name, but you wouldn't even know what they look like.
Yeah.
Here, the artists can be more in touch, they're more reachable.
I'm curious too about the submission, because you're talking about like the board. You've got to review all the submissions, and is that a difficult process? Because I would imagine, because obviously any kind of art is subjective. And so I would imagine there's some disagreement, right? About, like someone might like something and someone else will say, no, we can't,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you have 3 of us try to do it at a time so that, there's a tiebreaker vote type of thing.
Oh, okay. That's smart.
So,
Yeah.
Like if it was one person, it's going to be pretty biased. But if you have 3 people doing it, then it's like 2 people could agree and one guy's like maybe iffy about it, or like 2 people could kind of be iffy about it, and then you have the third person say, actually, yeah, that's like, why not bring that in, and
Yeah.
and that type of thing. Like, so it is a collaborative effort, like with everything. So like judging a show, hanging a show, like Chloe said, we all show up and kind of take a wall and hang the show.
Yeah.
And then we also have the openings, like where you can meet the artists, because most of them show up. So it's like you can just go to an opening and see something on the wall and the person's standing right there to talk to. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, very cool.
Yeah. There's lots of checks and balances in how we make those selections. And I think one of the core elements that we keep in mind when we're making them is the mission of Mosaic, which is to help build and nurture and influence the growth of one's practice in a safe place. So when we're making these selections, we're keeping in mind that this is not just about what is the internationally, technically good, like museum artwork. This is about real art. This is about community art. This is about self-expression. And this is about being supported in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. And now, Derek, how did you get involved? Obviously, you've been booking the music, and you and I have known each other for a long time in the music industry. We used to do. Jenny's heard this, of course, but back in the day, we used to book a lot of shows, and you introduced me to. Well, we were sort of half kidding at the show that Jenny and I went to, that Acacia Strain, they owe all their success to us. we because we booked them on a show.
I'm honestly surprised they're still a band.
They are still around.
Yeah.
Well, they had a great start because we booked them.
Yep.
So I don't.
We
remember
paved
where,
the way.
That's right. They owe it all to us. But yeah. So how did you get involved in the collective?
Once I moved back earlier last year, and in the spring, I reached out to Liz. I was just looking for some sort of outlet, because I had initially wanted to start a gallery collective of my own in the city here when I lived here, 10 plus years ago, and that never materialized. So I started my online gallery of artists only. And, I've just hosted a bunch of artists throughout the country and international, but I still wanted a physical space, because the idea was always to include a monthly showcase of performers. And I reached out to her to see if she was open to the idea, and she was. So I met with her, went over some logistics, and we, that was in the fall that I met her initially, and we had the first show, as you mentioned, in December.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just we're gonna try to keep doing them.
Are you still doing your online gallery?
Periodically, not as regularly as I had been, but yeah, it used to be a more full web page. Now it's solely structured to Instagram. So
Okay.
that's at Artists Only AO.
Oh, okay. Okay. What goes into that? An online gallery? Do people contact you and say, I'd like to feature? Like, how does that work?
I don't get contacted so much as I network with the artists. I'll reach out to someone I'd like to feature. Also, it's nonprofit, so I'll just also sometimes repost various artists' work and give them the credit.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your Instagram page?
It's Artists Only, and then the abbreviation AO at the end.
And now, for the music, are you booking all the music at the at Mosaic? That's all you?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah. I know it's relatively new still, but
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the second one tonight. I already have the one set up for next month, which will be on the 17th. It's going to be more of an electronic night with 2 solo electronic artists.
Oh, cool.
Another one from Portland, Maine, Gibbs Freelance. And I try to have a local support as an opener for draw.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Danny Camps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does kind of like, he plays guitar and bass, but he also messes around with synths.
How do you figure out who would be a good fit? I mean, is there, do the musicians that you're booking, do they have to kind of fit do you have a certain criteria in mind in terms of who would, because it's not, obviously at a place like Mosaic, it's, you want to have artists, musicians who are going to fit the vibe. I mean, how do you, is that a big part of the process in terms of figuring out who to book there?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I'll try to have it, be some sort of complimentary, in a sense, but I'm all for diversity as well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in shows to come, it'll be more of an abstract bill.
Yeah. I mean, when we were there that night, I mean, that seemed perfect. That seemed
Oh
like just the
yeah.
perfect fit for that.
And it's such an amazing space. You're sitting in the middle of all this beautiful art, and the space is so, um, it's God. I'm looking for a word that's not coming to me.
Intimate.
Huh?
Intimate.
Intimate. That is
Mhm.
exactly what I was looking for. And the sound is just really great with the musicians. I'm telling you, it's totally worth going there to listen to the music. It's just such a great space to be in. It's more personable.
Hmm.
The artist is right there, not umpteen feet away from you or what have you.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I've already written it down. February 17th. Got that. February 17th. After tonight will be the next music night. So I'll have that down.
Mhm.
Love to actually keep in touch and bring musicians that you have, bring them to our listeners. If we haven't beat you to the punch, we already had Abner on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if they're available
Yeah,
before the show on some Saturday
And we
in the
certainly
area.
see a lot of wonderful musicians. If you ever need anybody, please don't hesitate. I love recommendations that come in and go out. So
Thanks for that.
absolutely, absolutely. I really am excited about tonight's show too.
Yes.
Regals is a new to me. Never heard of them before. And I'm really interesting sound. I
Mhm.
really enjoy it. We were listening last night because I was just playing. I always play something. I have tinnitus, so I always have something in the room going on. Really great sound. Really great
Yeah,
sound.
they started as a 3-piece, and I first saw them perform over at Two Shared,
Okay.
and they've expanded to a fuller band. Ryan Egan, who leads the band, has been in former Manchester bands. Before Happy Just to See You were that band, it was Bad Fellows, and he played drums with them, and he was also in a band called Pleasure Gap.
Okay.
But he's been a Manchester staple for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
This city has a lot of art.
True.
A lot of amazing artists. I didn't realize how much until last year when we really started concentrating hard on bringing in more musicians, more artists. This city is bursting with incredible talent. It's just amazing to me what we have in this city. You think New Hampshire, you're kind of a small state. We can fit your whole state inside of New York as far as people go. But we really are very blessed with a lot of amazing talent in different genres, all kinds of genres. If you ever want to try out a new genre, a small venue like this is absolutely perfect to go listen to something you haven't seen before, like Abner too, or Abner the Second. I never know which way to go.
Either or, I think,
Sure.
really.
He's amazing. He uses a viola and does this looping technique, and the music he creates, and I love his voice. The songs he creates are
Yeah.
absolutely awesome. It was funny because Matt's been playing him for a very long time before we ever had him on as a guest. And we finally got him on as a guest, and then I got the joy of sitting there going, "We've been playing you for years."
Him being on this show was actually how I realized that Matt had started a radio show.
Oh, no kidding.
Because I was still in Austin, Texas at the time, and I saw Zach Abner post about it.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent.
See, small world comes around.
That's good to hear. By the way, the studio line is open. If you have any questions or feedback or anything at all for our guests, you can give us a call, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. But we would love to hear your dulcet tones at 603-250-6007. So what does the future hold for Mosaic? I mean, is there kind of a long-term plan as far as continuing to expand what you're doing, or?
We have some really exciting stuff that, is maybe potentially hanging in our future.
Good.
But some of the more kind of immediate moments that we'd really love to see the community show up and support in is, of course, our music night tonight. And so doors will open at 7 p.m. tonight.
Okay.
It is a 21 plus show, but we will be having refreshments by donation and live music.
Mm.
And we expect the show will run through about 10 p.m.
Okay.
This evening.
Cool.
So feel free to stop by between 7 and 10 and come check us out and see what the gallery has to offer.
And Jenny and I will be there. So you can
Absolutely.
Yeah.
come say
hi to
come say hello
us.
to us.
Come
Yeah.
say hello to all
Yeah.
of
Are
us.
you an artist? Do you want to be on? Come say hi.
That's right.
Absolutely. Now, in the course of the collective, you guys operate mostly on donation, right?
Correct. So we are a nonprofit, so we really do rely on support from our community by donation and also by showing up and being in the shows, right? Submitting,
And the fee's like
purchasing
really
artwork.
cheap, isn't it? Like $10, I think.
$10, $15.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very accessible.
Yeah.
That's our aim and our goal is to keep it that way.
You
Yeah,
can take a chance without losing your grocery bill money.
Right, right.
Right,
Which
right.
I think it makes it all the more accessible to everybody.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to be somebody with a whole lot of money to try and buy your way in
True.
to a gallery. Your donation is helping to fund this beautiful space for local artists, which, as people know, Matt and I are huge on supporting all local artists. And you can't go wrong when you support your community anyway.
Yeah, we actually have a sticker to support local art, which is $3, which helps artists with submission fees. And we also have gift cards done by Jackie Hansen, which you can kind of buy over time if you want to save up for yourself or give it to someone else to buy a piece at the gallery.
Yeah.
Or you can use it towards your submission fees for open calls. So
Oh, okay.
the next open call that we have is all heart statuses for the February show. So it can either be, about your relationship or love for whoever, or it could be about how love sucks, and you can just do something for that. So any heart status.
Okay.
Right.
So
Doesn't even necessarily have to be love. It could be any emotion that
Yeah.
you feel you need to express.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So the submission date is for that. All submissions are due by January 26th at 11:59 p.m. So mark that on your calendars.
Okay.
So when
Okay.
people go to submit, they take a picture of their work, send it to you with the fee, and then everybody goes and looks at all the different pieces. And now, do people come in with huge paintings, teeny tiny paintings? Are there size restrictions? Or do you just send a picture and go, hey, this is what it is?
So typically we don't impose many restrictions because we want to see what you have. We do have space limitations, obviously, that it's not a huge room. But we accept 3D artwork, 2D artwork, digital artwork, any kind. And
Excellent.
the dimensions are completely open. I mean, the only limitation we have is can we get it in the room, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
so it really is open-ended, and we encourage everybody to kind of not be constricted in what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a couple. So Nick mentioned that we have a gift card done by a local artist, Jackie Hansen, who we've done some incredible workshops with. And she actually has a workshop coming up in the next couple of weeks here. And it's actually January 25th.
Okay.
It's going to be an eraser workshop. So the gift card that we have is kind of done in a similar style where she has carved into material to create a stamp and then, kind of
Nice.
repeat that artwork,
Huh.
over and over again as many times as
Oh,
she wants.
Interesting.
So that's how our gift cards are made. And so this eraser workshop will be very similar to that in carving into an eraser material, which is very easy to get, accessible. Anybody can find an eraser and then create a stamp out of it.
Yeah.
So that will be a really exciting workshop coming up. And those who are interested in signing up for that, I encourage checking out our website and getting a slot ahead of time.
Now, what is the cost on that particular workshop?
Off the top of my head, I'm actually not 100% sure, but I'm not even going to give you an estimated figure because I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is posted on our website.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
I've
have
got
to
it right
wait
here,
on it.
actually. The Eraser Print Marketing Workshop that is going to be held on January 25th. Arrive at 5:45, please.
Yep.
And their address, again, is 66 Hanover Street, Suite 201. It's a $35 registration fee, which covers all of the supplies that you need to make your own. And you'll be able to take that home.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that will be a very exciting way to not only support the gallery, but also have something that you get to take home with you at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great that you're doing something that's not a painting.
Right.
Right?
It's
Like,
different. Yeah.
Not that, obviously I paint, but everywhere's always a paint bar. I want to do something fun.
Right. It's not a
something
paint bar.
different, something that you can play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
And maybe
Looking
gain some
forward to what else.
inspiration from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like the support local artist sticker.
Yeah, you see that there.
That's really. I love stickers. In case you didn't notice, my laptop is completely covered.
Oh, well, you must need one then.
I must need one.
A very fun fact is the artist who created that sticker is actually sitting right next to me in this room.
Oh, no
there
kidding.
You go.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
Liz-
hey,
Liz talked
no,
about it.
seriously, I really like this.
Yeah, Liz reached out and asked if we wanted to do a sticker, and I just kind of came up with something, and we went back and forth about it. And we actually used that same design for did the Christmas parade recently, and we had a banner on the side that had the same thing, so that was pretty cool too.
Excellent. Hey, by the way, this is a little bit not off topic, but not specifically about the gallery, but I'm just curious. Do any of you have any thoughts on, because Jenny and I attended that event that was at the gallery about AI and art. Do any of you just have any kind of general thoughts about that? Or I mean, it's kind of a big subject, but it's a broad question, but I'm just curious if any of you have any thoughts on the matter.
Generally, I'm not for AI, but I can understand its use. Kind of like, I don't know if you're editing something or something like that. But if you're going from like 0 to an image, I don't necessarily love that use of it.
Yeah. By that, you mean like if you give it a prompt and
Yeah,
say create
like,
this and
create this, because I don't know, I hand draw and I use digital. I think digital is like the closest I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But no, I understand its uses though. So generally, I'm not for it, but I can see how people can use it to enhance whatever they're doing.
Right.
Or edit their writing. So say you're like writing something.
See, we
and
were
you need it.
talking about that before you guys came into the show.
Yeah.
Because I have a book started and I was hemming and hawing. Should I use AI to edit the book or not? And now I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I was toying with the idea. I mean,
I
geez, it would
talked
be
her
easy.
out of it.
He did. He talked me out of it. He
Good.
totally talked me out of it. But I have a unique style of writing anyway. I don't know that you could fit that into me.
I have a little bit of a different perspective on AI.
Oh, cool.
So I'm classically trained as a photographer. And I think one of the things when AI started coming onto the scene that I'm just immediately started thinking was, man, this must be how painters felt when photography hit the scene, you know?
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
You know, and like
Interesting.
to see the medium go from, you know, you have to, at least with photography, you had to actually go to the place and bring the equipment and put that amount of effort in. Now you can just go type in, make me a picture of Santorini with a wedding happening, and there it is. You know, you don't have to be there. So I think, and similarly to a painter who used to have to put, or still does, put hours of time into accurately translating what they're seeing, and then photography hit the scene and you just press a button and go about your merry day, right?
Yeah.
I can only draw like equations to how that must feel there.
Yeah. It never occurred to me.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting insight.
It seems like it might be some kind of natural progression in, you know, art and technology that we're experiencing, but it's also, I am skeptical too. You know, I think AI can be misused, and it is also a tool that is dictated by humans still. So
it's depending upon other people's work to draw itself into work. Like it's pulling from everything else that other people have already done.
right, which in a lot of ways,
arguably
inspiration
we
is
all
doing
do.
that. Right.
Yeah.
So the only difference is that it's an artificial intelligence that's drawing inspiration from the world around it rather than an organic intelligence. So, which I think
this is why
leaves
I
reason
was
to be
fence-sitting.
skeptical, but
Yeah.
but it is interesting.
Yeah. What do you think, Derek?
I think that I'm anti-AI in the respect of you know, it potentially taking jobs from people. but I believe that there may be some sort of merit to it in like the medical field.
Yeah.
It's they're working out ways to allow even like paralyzed people to walk again.
Seriously, I've watched some of those videos. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
there's like sensory mechanisms that they have implanted in people
Mm-hmm.
that they're able to control remotely, and
Yeah.
give those sort of sensory function that the body is supposed to, and it's still at the beginning stages, and the people are still slow to get going, but it's it's some sort of progression in that field.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned that too, because when we had Conrad War from the band, I don't know if you know the band Bees Deluxe, really good Boston band, and we were talking about that with him. You remember this? And he was talking about how, for example, if you're a medical professional and you're trying to find a treatment plan for someone with an illness, and you can say to AI, give me 3 treatment plans for this person and describe the person, and and it can save a lot of time and potentially be very useful in a situation like that. So,
Science in medicine is just exponentially growing. I 100% I agree with you. In a lot of different industries, AI does and will continue to have a great place. But in art,
Yeah,
that's
there's
where and it's all art, whether it's whether it's music, whether it's print, whether it's writing.
it adds a lot of guesswork to, is this authentic or not?
So I'll just share briefly my one experience trying to create visual art using Dolly 3. I don't know if any of you have used that at all, but I had to. We did a segment on the show talking about the Daryl Hall versus John Oates lawsuit a couple of months ago, and so I took that segment and I put it on YouTube, and I needed a thumbnail, and so I tried using Dolly 3 to create what I wanted was to see, because I'd seen people come up with some pretty good stuff using this. So I wanted an image of Daryl Hall and John Oates in a boxing ring. And what I learned pretty quickly is it's very resistant to, and we talked about this too at the event that we went to at Mosaic about AI.
Yeah, this came up at the event.
I wish I could remember that. Who's the gentleman's name, by the way? Do you know offhand?
Carl.
I cannot. I have a mental block with his name. He was very impressive. I liked his presentation. So we were talking about this, and I remember telling him I couldn't get it to do that exactly, and he said the program seems to be very resistant to the idea, just broadly, of putting celebrities in violent situations. So it wouldn't let me do that. And so the best I was able to get out of it when I tried to make that, and I did get it to do something that I used for a thumbnail on the YouTube video, was Daryl Hall and John Oates at playing chess, but with angry expressions on their faces. It doesn't quite look like Daryl Hall and John Oates, but it looks close enough. But they both look angry, and it's a funny picture. But that's the only thing I've used it for so far. But that was kind of fun. Well, listen, we'll begin to, before we run out of time, I want to make sure. Well, actually, is there anything that we didn't mention? Because I know you had a bunch of things you wanted to mention. I don't want to leave anything out.
I think we got through most of them. The only one that and it occurs to me, since we're talking about Carl's talk, we will be having another artist talk at the end of January here on January 26th.
Okay.
Local photographer Gary Sampson, he's the photographer I invited to the This Is Us Plus Some show. He's been my longtime mentor and professor as a photographer, and he has a really extensive history with Manchester and supporting historical and cultural preservation in Manchester, alongside being also a very prolific artist in his own respect.
Oh, cool.
And he'll be doing an artist talk on the 26th, January 26th, starting at 5:45 p.m. So I know many of the listeners out there may actually know of Gary and might be interested to see him talk and hear about his work. So please feel free to register online for that talk as well. We'd love to see the community show up.
Excellent. Where should people go online to keep up with everything that is going on at Mosaic Art Collective?
I think we are most active on Instagram, Mosaic Art Collective. Very simple. On Instagram. We are also on Facebook. And if you go to mosaicartcollective.com, our gallery website is also updated regularly along with all of our social media pages.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can actually see like all the archive shows from the past year too. So if you're curious what we've been doing,
Cool.
you can go down and see all the art that was in each show.
Okay. Excellent. And will all three of you be there tonight?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, we look forward to that. We look forward to seeing you there. Jenny and I will be there, and we encourage people to participate. Yes.
And speaking of archives, as you are aware, I had told you I had a radio show of my own while in Austin.
Yeah.
I have, so since being there, I quote unquote revived the show as a home recording.
Good.
Back in October. So I have a handful of episodes up, most currently one from the beginning of the month. And I'm going to have it go for maybe a few more installments.
Okay.
And until I reach episode 50. So those can be listened to on, it's a music variety show.
Okay.
And it's on mixcloud.com/eclectic arrangements.
Oh, I like the name. Yeah.
Thanks. And we only left out for the show tonight that the admission is a sliding scale, $5 to $10.
Oh, okay.
I bought our tickets online.
Yes.
which you can
Yeah,
also
and that was
do.
an option as well on Eventbrite.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, I'm glad you're all going to be there tonight. That is wonderful. Of course, Abner the Second and Regals will be playing. Who's going on? What's the order?
It's Abner first,
Okay.
and then Regals. And Abner will be joined by a drummer tonight. He won't
cool.
just be solos.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Nice.
Very interesting.
I
Very
like
good.
it.
Very good. Well,
Mix it up,
yes.
as Easy G would say.
Oh, that's right. Our
Yes.
friend Easy G. I'm
Mix
surprised
it up.
he hasn't called.
I know. I missed you, Easy. Where are you?
Well, thank you all three of you for coming in, Nick and Chloe. Wonderful to meet you, and Derek, of course, always nice to see you, my friend.
Thanks, Matt.
Absolutely. Look
thank
forward to seeing you tonight. And definitely I would encourage people to come down Mosaic Art Collective tonight. And in fact, we're going to close out the segment with another song from Abner II and his album, The Audrey It Burns. This is called Dover. And then Jenny and I will be back. There is more show to come, so don't go anywhere.